Wellness for Life is brought to you by Back in Motion Physical Therapy.
Hello, I'm Matt Koffenberg, physical therapist and owner of Back in Motion Physical Therapy in Perham and Park Rapids, Minnesota. Today I'm going to continue my series on the 5 best exercises for a variety of joints. So far we've done the 5 best exercises for the ankle, we've done the 5 best exercises for the knee. Today we're going to talk about the 5 best exercises for the hip. Now remember, there are a ton of exercises out there, and these are just my opinion as a physical therapist based on what typically can go wrong with the hip. These are, in my opinion, the 5 best exercises that you can do to try to prevent some of the common injuries that will occur within the hip. So today we're going to talk about 2 strengthening exercises, we're going to talk about 2 stretching exercises, and then we're going to talk about one other activity that you can do to do some self-massage. These particular activities, again, I feel really can help benefit you to reduce the likelihood of potentially having problems with your hip in the future. So let's talk about the 2 stretches to begin. The first stretch that you want to do is you want to stretch out the front part of your hip. The front part of our hip, we call those the hip flexors, but those hip flexors, because we spend a ton of our time sitting, these hip flexors tend to get really, really short. They get really, really tight, and they can create all sorts of problems in the hip, but they can also create problems in the back. So we really want to do an exercise where we can lengthen those. So when you do stretches, it really, in terms of how long you should do them, it really depends on your age. If you're less than 50 years of age, you can hold these stretches for 30 seconds and be effective. If you're over 50 years of age, you really should hold these stretches for 60 seconds or more. And you really should do at least 5 of them. So to stretch that hip flexor out, the one that I find to be the most effective is to actually use a step stool. And in this case, I'm going to demonstrate stretching my left hip flexor out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my right foot on the step stool. I'm actually going to try to get my left leg behind me as far as I can. I've got a chair here. For some of us, we're going to need that chair just for some balance. So you'll want to just place your hand on the back of a chair. So you're going to place your right foot up on the step stool. And what you're going to do is you're going to stand up really, really tall, and you want to tighten up your stomach. That's actually the most important part of this, is really, firm up that stomach, because that'll really engage the hip flexor well. So you tighten up your stomach, and then you just lean forward by bending that leg, that front leg. You just bend that front leg. You lean forward until you feel a little bit of a stretch right in the front of the hip. Now, if you want to make that stretch a little bit more aggressive, you can bring your left arm up and actually lean backwards. And you'll really feel a very nice stretch right in front of the hip. Should not hurt. And again, you want to hold that for at least 30 seconds. The second stretch that I want to talk to you about today is a stretch of what's called the piriformis muscle. The piriformis muscle is a muscle that sits right on top of what's called the sciatic nerve. And a lot of us end up with what we call sciatica type pain. By stretching the piriformis out, we can really reduce the likelihood of having sciatica. So I'm going to demonstrate a right hip piriformis stretch. So to do that, you want to lie down on your back. So to stretch my right hip out, I'm going to lie down on my back with my knees bent. I'm going to take my right ankle, place it on my left knee. I'm then going to grab my right knee and actually pull my right knee towards my left shoulder. And I'm just pulling it straight towards my left shoulder, and I really should be feeling a nice stretch right through this region. And again, you want to hold that for at least 30 seconds. So those are the 2 stretches you want to do. You want to stretch the front part of the hip and also the back part of the hip. Now for strengthening, there's one muscle group that you want to strengthen. You want to strength train what's called the gluteus medius. There are 2 really effective and easy ways to strengthen the gluteus medius. One is lying on your side. So if I'm going to strength train my left gluteus medius, I'm going to lie on my side with a very slight knee bend. I want my heel to be in line with my tailbone. So what I mean by that is I don't want my heel in front of my tailbone. I want it to be right in line with my tailbone. And I want to keep it there throughout the whole exercise. And what you do is you just raise your leg up as high as you can get it, and then you bring it down halfway, and then you go back up and you bring it down halfway. Don't come all the way down. If you come all the way down, you'll disengage the gluteus medius. And you want to make sure that you keep that active throughout. Okay, and you want to do about 25 of those. The second gluteus medius exercise is take a piece of TheraBand, it's just large rubber band, and you wrap it around your ankles. And you stand in a nice athletic stance. What that means is the knees bent. You put all your weight on one leg, and you kick your leg out to the side. If you need a little bit of balance support, you can certainly do that with a chair. But you kick your leg out to the side again about 20 to 25 times. It's a wonderful strength exercise for the gluteus medius. Finally, you want to do a little bit of self-massage, specifically to the piriformis and the gluteus medius. I usually recommend a massage ball. You can also use a tennis ball. And with the massage ball, basically what you want to do is you want to find some tender points or some real tight points. You place the ball right on that tight point, and you place it up against the wall, and you really just kind of lean into it. And you hold that for about 30 seconds. You'll know when you're in the right spot. Trust me, you'll know. Hold it for about 30 seconds, and you do about 3 of them. Now with the massage ball, you only do that about once or twice a week. Strengthening, you do about 2 or 3 times a week. Stretching, you can do up to 5 times a week. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to call me at 218-346-2464.